I think about the difference between obviously acute use and chronic use of water immersion. So, for example, I worked out in tennis at the Australian Open. Every year it's summer, it's ridiculously hot. They're playing every second day. If someone wants an ice bath in that competition tournament, I actually think it's a good strategy. I think it's something that they probably should be doing. It's 50 degrees on the court and they're playing for hours. So, yes, go for it. Then I might be working with some swimmers and they've got months of training for, maybe one or two important events in that year. And I think they don't have a lot of muscle damage. Yes, they're in the gym, but they don't have a huge amount of muscle damage. They don't have high core temperatures. There's no impact with the ground. They're not getting sore or anything, typically.
They're already in water.
That's right. They've got metabolic fatigue. They're not probably going to love the idea of hopping in an ice bath. If they said to me, let's find something else, I'm like, let's go for it.
That's why for years I've just talked about the 100% mentality. So if you rock up and you're feeling 7 out of 10, ready to do a day, just get 7 out of 7. See what it looks like when you make it 7 out of 7, because you've still got all of that really helpful stuff in there. 7 out of 7, let's see. And if we can always get 100% out of what's available, that's a great characteristic to have. Because if I am a 10 out of 10 ready and I know I'm going to get 100% out of that, I'm really excited. And if I'm 5 out of 10 ready and I'm kind of a bit disappointed, but I know I'm going to get 5 out of 5, I still know I've got a platform to build from. So that's where a lot of this stuff comes for me in terms of, given the level of performers we're talking about, a 6 out of 10, a 7 out of 10, there's still so much valuable stuff there to take advantage of. And that's where I think if it's a feed forward, make the most of it all the time, we deal with ambition and reality in a really healthy way.
Yeah. I think there is a tidal wave of strength training that is coming through and the value of it. And I think we're still on the front end of that. Cardio was the thing for longevity for, 20 plus years. Weights were for, bodybuilders and maybe some athletes. I think we're still on the front end of the public realizing. I think the research data is extreme. So I see that trend continuing. And I say strength training in all its forms, whether that's Pilates and more body weight resisted stuff, or traditional strength training in the gym, or tonal in your home. I think that is only a growing size of the market. And I think the ability of devices like tonal to capture these enormous data sets and to meld them or augment your LLMs or your generative AI models so you have this proprietary data set with this very open source data set. That's going to be a really interesting 3 to 5 years.
So you get mitochondria that are getting towards the end of their life cycle, but are probably going to hang around for a few days or weeks longer and not doing as good a job as they could do. And the sprint interval training seems to be really effective to speed up speeding up that end of the life. So you break down these older mitochondria that aren't as effective and you start producing new mitochondria. So when you're doing that, it's kind of like replacing older mitochondria with newer, better mitochondria. You don't necessarily have more mitochondria. And quite often we find that there's no change in the amount of mitochondria with the sprint interval training. But the mitochondria there are more efficient and better able to produce energy.